With 3 state championships in 6 years, including 2 in a row, the Science Hill Hilltoppers had established themselves as the picture of excellence and the high school basketball team of the 90s in Tennessee. But in November of 1995, as they embarked on the path to three-peat, they knew that trying to form their own version of a three-ring circus would be full of a variety of acts. Yes, the path to three-peat would have many twists and turns. The path opened on the road. The 95-96 Toppers debuted their act at Davy Crockett, and they turned in a virtuoso performance. Seniors Nathaniel Bailey and Jovan Johnson tipped off their final seasons at Science Hill by combining for 63 points. Junior Brad Fields had 16, and promising sophomore Roy Jackson added 15 as the Toppers gave area hoop fans a preview of things to come as they blazed past the Pioneers 119-43. 2 more road tests followed. The Toppers won a battle with the Patriots at Jefferson County 72-55 and sailed past the Vikings at Tennessee High 87-42. Jovan Johnson and Nathaniel Bailey both scored 38 points in the 2 games to lead the victories. On November 30th, the Toppers opened their home schedule by hosting Greenville. The talented Green Devils were supposed to give the Hill an early season test, but the Toppers had all the answers. They outscored the Devils 43-17 in the second half on the way to a convincing 73-36 win. The Maroon and Gold were 4-0, headed north to Alaska. For the second time in 3 years, the Toppers participated in the Great Alaska High School Classic in Anchorage, and this time they turned the last frontier into their first-place playground. In the opener, they tamed the Golden Bears of Anchorage Bartlett 57-48. In the semis, the Franklin Washington Quakers were a 73-36 victim. In the championship, Alaska's traditional power, Anchorage East, tipped off against the Toppers. But all tournament performers Bailey and Johnson led the way with 25 and 19 points respectively, as the Toppers caged the Thunderbirds 77-60 and jetted out of the Great White North with the Great Alaska High School Classic Championship trophy. The Toppers were 7-0 as they settled back into lower 48 local conference wars with the Rebels of Sullivan South. The Hilltoppers used a 27-5 first quarter to help fight away jet lag and went on to win 72-57. The Toppers then passed a supreme road test, coming from behind to beat Cleveland 57-56 to get themselves ready for Round Ball in the Hall, Part 2. It was a battle of the unbeaten when nationally ranked University Heights of Kentucky invaded Freedom Hall to challenge the nationally ranked Toppers. The Toppers broke from an 11-11 first quarter tie and never looked back. Bailey, Johnson, and Brad Fields hit double figures as the Hill sent the Heights packing back to KY with a 65-50 victory. And the Toppers welcomed Santa Claus with a 10-0 record and got ready for another Arby's Classic. As is always the case, the Toppers got a tough draw in the opening round of the Arby's. This time around, it was Chattanooga Brainerd in a rematch of last year's state championship game. It was an Arby's Classic. Back and forth, the 2 Tennessee powerhouses battled. The biggest lead for both teams was 6 points. Finally, the contest would go to overtime, and in the extra period, the Hill took command behind a key steal by Nathaniel Bailey. Despite Brainerd's revenge-minded inspiration, the Toppers won 68-62 to stay unbeaten. The Toppers waltzed through the next 2 games of the Arby's, winning a rare rematch with Anchorage East 81-58 and beating upset-minded Sullivan Central 74-44. It was on to the championship game. Led by MVP Bailey's 18 points, Johnson 16, Jeremy McCone 17, and Brad Fields 15, the Hilltoppers humbled Franklin Simpson of Kentucky 88-50. For the second time in tournament history, the Toppers had eaten up the Arby's field to take the prestigious championship. Science Hill took a 14-0 record and 38-game winning streak into the new year of 1996. The first challenge was at Elizabethton. It was the first of 3 memorable meetings between Northeast Tennessee's 2 best teams. This one was all toppers. In his best game of the season thus far, the 6'10 McCone was a force, scoring 21 points. Jovan Johnson jammed in 20, and the Toppers stuffed Elizabethton 76-53. The Toppers continued their road mastery, winning at Oak Ridge. Then a 66-point victory over Sullivan East at home, and a 68-41 win at Central on a night that the lights went out. A win over Tennessee High on January 19th gave the Toppers their 19th victory without a loss. The stage was set for a showdown with William Fleming of Virginia in the Crestar Classic in Salem. After the thrilling comeback win at William Fleming, the Toppers dominated Jeff County 101-38 and readied for the first meeting of the year with Dobyns-Bennett. The young Indians played the Toppers tough at the Van Huss Dome, but the duo of Bailey and Johnson ripped the cords for 47 combined points to lead the Toppers to a 76-66 victory. The Hilltoppers roared past the Rebels at South 92-40 and cruised into the Topper Palace for another date with Elizabethton, sporting a 23-0 season record and 47-game winning streak. It was January 30th. A packed palace was on hand, and they watched the first pothole develop in the Toppers' path. In a double overtime heartstopper that area basketball fans will be talking about for a long time to come, the Cyclones outlasted the Toppers 57-50 to hang the first loss of the season on Science Hill and end the Hill's 47-game win streak. But the Toppers regrouped, burying Crockett by 43 points and winning at Sullivan East by 40. However, late in the third quarter of the victory over the Patriots, Jovan Johnson turned his ankle. He wouldn't play the following day in a Saturday afternoon special against Sullivan Central. But Nathaniel Bailey more than took up the slack with a record-setting performance of 41 points. The Toppers won 93-42 and were 26-1 heading to Greenville. It was quite a test for the Toppers as they trailed the Devils early in the fourth. But Johnson was back, and Jovan spearheaded a Science Hill run by turning a missed dunk at one end into a thunderous jam of his own at the other end. The Toppers won 68-63 and prepared for the regular season finale at Freedom Hall against DB. On that February 15th night, controversy began rocking the Toppers' boat. 5 key players were suspended for the game, and the Toppers dressed only 7 players against the Indians. But the Maroon and Gold overcame the odds and responded beautifully. Jovan Johnson scored 20, Jeremy McCone added 15, and Roy Jackson pitched in 11 as the Toppers came together, led from start to finish, and scalped the Tribe 58-48. Finally, it was tournament time, and the top-ranked Hilltoppers took a 28-1 record into the districts at Viking Hall. The Toppers played Central in the semis and won easily by 21. It was time for a much-anticipated rematch with Elizabethton, this time with the district championship on the line. The Toppers led early 11-10, but that would be their last lead. Betsy shot the lights out and won for the second straight time over the Toppers with a 61-54 victory. Put plainly, it was gut check time for the Hilltoppers. All of a sudden, the path to three-peat became a rocky road. Injuries, player suspensions, unaccustomed pressure, and the speculation and reaction concerning Coach George Pitts and the ETSU coaching vacancy all hit the Toppers head-on as they made their way into the regional tournament. But the Toppers found freedom inside Freedom Hall. They pulled together again and won their way into the regional finals to face Dobyns-Bennett. On the first day of March, it was Science Hill who came in like a lion. They roared past the Tribe 84-69 as Region 1 MVP Brad Fields scored 27 points and Jovan Johnson poured in 30. It was a hard-earned regional title, and for the third straight year, the Toppers stayed home again to host another sub-state game. Science Hill, 32-2, battled the Bulldogs of Knox Bearden, 29-3, for the right to go to Murfreesboro. Bearden, led by the 19-point effort of Jared Carnes, led by 5 at the half. But again, the Hill climbed the comeback hill. Gabe Gools hit some key threes on the way to 12 points. Brad Fields tossed in 21. And on the final play of the third quarter, Jovan Johnson stole the ball and zoomed in for a dunk that brought the house down and gave the Toppers a 2-point lead. From there, Eddie Swafford came up big with 2 big trays in the fourth quarter, and the Toppers held on for a 55-49 win, clinching their 6th state tournament appearance in the last 7 years. Despite twists and turns that would make anyone dizzy, the path to three-peat again found its way to Murfreesboro. At least the Toppers had a chance for their 3rd straight, but again they got a tough draw. Murfreesboro-Oakland would provide the opposition as the state's top 2 ranked teams locked horns. The Patriots came out smoking, grabbing a 9-point first-half lead over the Toppers. Science Hill got a big game from Jeremy McCone, who threw down 16 points, and he helped the Hill cut it to 6 at the half. But, unfortunately, that was as close as the 2-time defending champs would get. Oakland won 66-45 to put a stop sign in front of Science Hill's path to three-peat. The season ended, but the memories never will. For the seniors, all-time leading scorer Jovan Johnson, Eddie Swafford, Bryant Mathis, and Nathaniel Bailey, it was quite a run. A journey that included 2 state championships and another state quarterfinal appearance. For the others, Brad Fields, Jeremy McCone, Gabe Gools, Michael Lewis, Roy Jackson, Jared Ridley, Jermaine Dillahunt, Nick Phillips, Mike Rader, Ryan Miller, Garrett McConnell, T.J. Talford, and Arvid Hall. A 33-3 season was a special memory and something to build on heading into the 1996-97 season. For the Science Hill Hilltoppers, the 1995-96 season was especially gratifying in what it represented. Their path, and life's path, is often filled with twists and turns that may alter the course a bit. But with spirit, teamwork, and perseverance, respect can be earned, traditions can be upheld, and the path can be paved with the promises of a winning future.